You're very welcome to another episode of the Filum Show. I'm Mike Sheridan. I'm joined as always by Dima Lumbey.
Yeah.
And Brian Lloyd.
Oh yeah.
Listen to last week's show, Brian. Listen to last week's show on the plane. Beforehand, no cursing. No cursing, Brian.
Yeah. I wasn't going to curse. I was just going to say, any thoughts, any suggestions? Like, you've been hosting the show.
You were phenomenal.
Thanks, Mike.
You're always phenomenal.
Aww.
You know, I found Brian quite boring. I have to say, he's just kind of like you were like you lacked energy. I don't know what it was. You just didn't seem yourself. You know, I was like, I don't know this person that's hosting the show this week. I don't know who they are. I've never met them.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it was the fact that like you weren't here, constantly trying to wind me up. That that there was a more calm, respectful.
Did you ever think that the wound up version of you was the real you?
I know it's not the real version of me. That's just it, though. I know it's not the real. Let's move on. Okay?
Am I actually your trigger?
Yeah.
No, hang on a second. Let's move on. I'm the host of the show now, Brian. You were a pale comparison.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. You were a pale comparison last week.
Yeah.
On my way back from Lanzarote.
Right, yeah.
And I had to listen to you for 5 minutes.
I was
talking smack.
Listen, I was not talking smack. I was pointing out the fact that you were in Lanzarote.
It was.
You were at some sort of bodybuilder thing.
No.
What was it?
It was a training camp. Warm weather training.
Yeah,
Producer Dave appreciates that. He's a sportsman. Don't you, Producer Dave?
I sure do.
He does, yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, like, whatever. So, yeah, so you're doing sports things, whatever. And, like, yeah.
Sports things.
Whatever.
Like
my point is that, like, I wasn't lying. I didn't make up any of it. Like, you were actually out there doing whatever it is.
I think it was more your tone. I think I was more offended by your tone. You know, how you were saying it.
So you're going to tone police me now? Is that it?
It was like disparaging or something. It just kind of,
Oh, pity about you, like I can't help how you feel about what I said. Okay?
I have to say, I really enjoyed the show last week.
I
really did. It was a very calm, intellectual discussion on film.
There we go.
And then I just come in and I'm like, nah,
less of that.
Just to make all the silly, like
Oh no. I mean, like it was. I've said this before to you, like, and it's hosting this show is difficult in the sense that like you have to constantly keep the things moving.
That's hosting anything, but I think because both you and Dee do so much media as well, kind of outside of here with radio and TV stuff, your brain kind of wires to be a contributor, and we've talked about this before, or wires to be a presenter, and like good presenters just move the conversation along. Don't abuse one of the contributors like I do. But no, that is it. Your brain, I think your brain is just kind of wired a certain way. So if Dee's doing the last word or something, you're doing the last word, and you're basically relaying your expertise. You're conveying it. Yeah. Whereas, like Matt Cooper's trying to move the conversation along and probably drop knowledge here and there. No, but I did. I genuinely really enjoyed the show last week. I was able to download it from the ropey Wi-Fi in Lanzarote Airport.
I was going to say, because like I've been in Lanzarote Airport before. That Wi-Fi is terrible.
Yeah. Do you know what they do as well? They have to shop outside right before you go through customs. Yeah. So like the coffee place and the shops.
You have to buy the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No, right? You have to, when you go through, they have like other shops and everything's hiked up. When you've already passed through customs, like the robbing.
I know, yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
I wanted Coke Zero. I've got a Coke Zero problem, and I wanted to buy 4 bottles of Coke Zero for the 4-hour flight home. I've got problems, lads. Anyway, that was my holiday. I trained, lifted weights.
Anyway, though, yeah?
It was good. Well, yeah, I trained. Joe trained, just lifted things, ran places. The Danish pole vaulting team were there. They are now.
All right.
They are now. Do you think you're intimidated by people? Wait till you're running next to the Danish pole vaulting team.
Are they like fast, or is it just like
Scandinavian?
Like
they're just Scandinavian and muscular, like men and women. They're just in phenomenal shape, like.
Yeah.
And then a lot of CrossFitters and stuff like that as well.
The
CrossFitters, yeah.
Really?
Professional CrossFit's like a thing.
Is it really?
It's an actual thing, yeah.
Like, what do they do?
They just lift weights badly. And they do really poor form pull-ups, like, and stuff.
Yeah, I know, yeah, because I've seen them do it, and like the gym I go to, they're all in there, and they're all like bashing around like hammers and stuff. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
You're taking up all the space and using all the dumbbells. Anyway, rant over. We'll talk about films. It was nice to catch up with the both of you.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. This is actually the first proper catch up we've had since you got back.
It is. So we have a bonus. We're going to have a bonus podcast this week, Dee. First of all, and this is for a documentary.
Yeah.
Quite a worthy sounding documentary.
Yeah, and Gav Burke actually reviewed it on site, and he gave it 5 stars. And I would agree with him in that it is like really a phenomenal film. It's powerful. It can be like a tough watch, but it's really good. It's called A Cambodian Spring, and it basically follows. Sorry, I always get mixed up with how to pronounce this, but it's like Bangkok, or it sounds like Bangkok, but it's not. Basically, the development of this lake in Cambodia, and it was quite this like kind of rundown area, and they had made all these promises with regards to the development, and they essentially just like drowned out the place. They just pumped water through it, and all of these people like lost their homes and everything. So it follows basically their protests against this, and we also followed this side plot with this monk character and how he's kind of protesting and becoming active in the community, but all the religious authorities are really unhappy with him doing that. They want him to like basically go back to his pagoda, I think it's called. So like just his little like
fair
monk
play for making an attempt. Fair play for making an attempt at the pronunciation.
Yeah,
I would have just said something else.
But it's really, really powerful stuff, and it's great. And I talked to the director of it, Chris Kelly, and he was really interesting to talk to. So yeah.
So that monk guy was actually in the IFI over the weekend.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
right.
him.
Yeah.
He had like had the robes and everything. It was like one of those like Buddhist monks, like where he had like the orange robes and everything, like Venerable Luan Savat or something. Wasn't that his name?
It's hard hitting. Do I take it? It's not an easy watch, or is it compelling? Or?
No, it's not. But it's compelling, and I think you know what, these kind of documentaries are important because you know we all get kind of wrapped up in our own little world and our little country, and it's important to see the struggles that are going on, you know, halfway across the world. Yeah. So I think it's a powerful film.
We're all in our own bubble in a certain way. Like. Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. We'll put that one out maybe in the next day or two. And as a bonus episode.
Great.
Speaking of which, Brian, on the line, you've got one as well. We're chock-a-block with interviews this week.
Chock-a-block. We had an interview with Clive Owen for his new film Anon, which was directed by Andrew Nichol. You can download that now on iTunes and Spotify. I can't talk about the movie yet because it's embargoed.
Okay. Clive Owen could talk about the movie to you.
He could talk to me about it, and he does slightly, but you'll be really proud. You'll be so proud of me, right? I completely and utterly just like had no sense of football whatsoever, and I was able to talk to him about football for about like 5 minutes, and I think he believed me. I think he understood. I think he believed me. I don't know, but like
producer Dave Regan will be the judge of that. He used to work for the old pundit arena, and he works for Sports Chronicle now. Yeah. Well, like judge him, Dave. Judge him.
I asked him about the Champions League because I talked to my brother stayed over at my house over the weekend, and I was like, I'm interviewing Clive Owen on Monday. He was like, oh yeah, he's big into Liverpool. Big Liverpool fan. She talked to him about Liverpool. I was like, how would I know about football? How would I know about Liverpool? He was like, just ask him about the Champions League final.
You were just like, I just want to connect with him on a personal level.
Exactly. Connect and, gain a rapport kind of thing. And I asked him about the Champions League final. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know if they're in it. I just said, so Champions League final, what do you think? And he was like, oh yeah, it gave a really kind of in-depth answer. I was like, oh yeah, I think they can do it.
That's a broad enough lead-in. You know, it's like Champions League final. The second leg is actually, we're recording this on Wednesday. The second leg is tonight.
Okay, great.
They're fighting.
He said he was going to it tonight. Yeah, he said he was going to it tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Because you connect with him on a personal level and your pals now. Anyway, the name of that podcast is On The Line. So we've basically done ads this week for our shit.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we've done ads for these podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Bonus podcast. And yours. I need a bonus podcast now.
Yeah, you should. Well, you're doing stuff with. Are we allowed to talk about that yet?
Well, we don't know if it's going to happen yet.
All right, okay.
But because these things
this is what they call a teaser, guys.
Oh yeah,
everyone home's like, just say it. No, if we do, you'll know in the next few days. But it's somebody I'm a huge fan of that I named one of my dogs after. Don't tell them that. Anyway, good crack. Okay, let's talk about Amy Schumer.
Yes.
I feel pretty. The three of us saw this one on Monday night.
Yep.
And it was one of those where we got to see it with an audience, and it was a very enthusiastic audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one drew a lot of criticism from the trailer alone.
Yeah, which was total BS.
Yeah, it really is when you see the film. But it's still a strange old setup for a film.
I don't think it is, though. I think that it's fairly like kind of standard.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, it's like Freaky Friday, I mean, some people have been comparing it to, although this is an unfair comparison, it was being compared to Shallow Hal when the trailer initially came out, which I don't think is really fair. It's quite a different
Shallow Hal's
film.
Farrelly brothers. And,
yeah, exactly. But it's a really fun film. Basically, at its concept is there's this like really insecure woman, and she has this accident where she hits her head really hard while she's doing spin class in a gym, and suddenly she sees herself as like this beautiful woman, and that newfound confidence ends up translating into everything. She ends up getting a boyfriend, she ends up getting like a job that she really, really wants because she kind of goes for it, and she's so full of like bravado and like kind of obnoxiousness that she managed to kind of BS her way into everything. And it's actually like really nice, and it is kind of a positive message. I know that it's cheesy to say, but it is feel good and it is cheesy. You know,
it's my first reaction to her banging her head was she also bangs her vagina very badly as well.
Yes.
Was like, Amy Schumer, you need to go to a hospital.
Yeah.
Like it's because at no point, and you mentioned Shallow Hal there. There's no like she doesn't look in the mirror and see something different. There's none of that. She obviously sees something different, but the audience doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, so they obviously made a choice there.
Yeah. That you never see what she's seeing.
What she thinks
exactly.
she looks like. Which might be a metaphor or something like that. I don't know. Did you get that, Brian?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose it is the sort of thing that, like, had they actually shown what she thought she saw, that is kind of, you're just opening yourself up for, you know, criticism on that front, like.
Like, how do you define beauty?
Exactly. Yeah. This is it. Like, and like, to be honest, part of this kind of I don't know, say annoyed me, but I was kind of like, ugh, I don't know about that. Was how, you know, there was at various points in the film when she is in under the trance or whatever, she's like, you know, like you see her eating food or whatever, and she's like, oh, I can just eat whatever I want and I just stay this thing, like, and everyone kind of laughs, and you're kind of like, yeah, you know, and like then there's other stuff where,
but like, women do say that.
I know that, yeah, no, I know that, but what I'm saying is that, like, it's kind of like, I don't know. There were parts of it was sort of like, oh, you're making a joke about that kind of thing. And like, don't get me wrong, if Amy Schumer is doing it, she obviously doesn't have a problem with it kind of thing. So,
but I mean, I don't know. Like, can you not just make a joke about anything these days?
I don't know. I mean, no. I mean, it's not. No, I'm not doing the whole like PC thing. Like, it's not that. It's more just like, it seems like it's a cheap way of making a joke.
I did more of that, and there were moments like that because it's a 1280. It's a fairly low
fairly
rating.
benign.
Benign rating. And normally when you'd see Amy Schumer, her stand-up's quite, well, she curses a lot, like, you know, most stand-up comedians and stuff. And obviously, this is a film that's not aimed towards kids per se. Let's not call that, but a 12A is a light enough rating for it.
Yeah, I mean, it means that, like, kind of teens can go see it. Like, it is really, let's be honest, it is a film that's primarily targeted for women. And it's kind of nice that, you know, teenage girls will be able to go and see this with their girlfriends, and kind of older women as well, people in their 20s and above, and you can go see it with your mom. Or I went to see it with my sister, and we had like a great old laugh at it. So
your sister?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you made sure to say hello this time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Mike.
Even though Brian was like flipping me off at the side,
I
but
was,
I ignored
yeah,
that.
it's true. Yeah,
Your sister, like, you should report him to your whatever human resources.
Well, the worst was when he was doing it when I was with my dad at the cinema. I was like, what if he kicks your ass? Yeah. Then you'll be sorry.
Listen, I could take your dad, okay?
Imagine your dad just whipped out an extendable bat and was like, where is he? I've heard about you, son. Just batters you.
But look, I just think that it was really feel good and it was really funny. I mean, it was very silly, but it was light and it was fun. And there aren't enough of these movies being made, let's be honest. Like, every time you do get the odd female-led comedy, of which there are few and far between, they are like big hits and stuff. Like, even like Bad Moms, I know that I didn't like that film at all and I wasn't mad about the sequel, but I could appreciate the fact that at least there are comedies being made about women.
Yeah, and Girls Trip was huge. That was a
Girls Trip was a huge success. Yeah, that's another big one from last year. Yeah.
No, you're dead right, actually. And you know, the reaction to this was kind of split down the middle, Brian. It's like 50-something% on
I feel like though this film is getting a lot of the similar kind of backlash to what the Ghostbusters remake got, in that people aren't actually going to see it. They're just giving it crappy ratings. Which is really
do you think
unfair.
It's a misogyny thing, or what? Like, what do you think it is? Just,
I don't know. I think that a lot of it is coming off the backlash from the release of that trailer, and people are saying, "Oh, it's basically like portraying a negative body image." When I feel like it's the exact opposite of that, if anything. So that's really frustrating. And I think that Amy Schumer is so extreme that she has inspired like quite a lot of haters for whatever reason. So I think it's on those bases why it's not getting a great reception. But I think it's a lot of fun.
And to be fair as well, I mean, not to kind of drive home the point or whatever, but like, we saw it in a cinema full of women, pretty much. Like, I think you and me.
It was a female publication,
Yeah. And like, you know, they all laughed, and I don't think anyone walked out.
The woman in front of us was having a great time.
She was howling laughing. So like, I don't know, like, maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, when it actually is presented and people see it in the full context, not just the trailer. Yeah. Maybe it's a bit more positive. I don't know.
I think as well, you can always kind of overanalyze these things and pick out plot holes and pick out problems, but you can do that with literally any comedy ever.
Exactly. I did like it. John Caroline loved it.
Yeah.
When they both worked for like publications and stuff over the years as well. It's obviously kind of style-centric, and
Yeah,
Michelle Williams
exactly.
plays kind of an Estee Lauder type.
She was great in it. I'd love to see her do more comedy in the future because she plays like this little like weirdo, and I
with her
kind of
voice,
loved her
yeah.
for it.
I don't know why Michelle Williams keeps doing that. She
Doing
did
what?
the same thing with All the Money in the World, where okay, no, I get it. I respect it because she makes a choice in her performance and commits to it. I think she is one of the best actresses working today.
Sure.
I don't think she gets the roles she should be getting.
No.
Maybe that's my choice. I don't know. But I think she's an incredible actress. Even the scenes she had Manchester by the Sea are devastating and shouldn't have.
Amazing.
She's just, I just think she's amazing. But even with All the Money in the World, she played this kind of soap opera-y.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
And she makes a real decision here to be like, is she mimicking somebody?
I don't know, but like it's hilarious. She was really funny in it, like that voice.
Yeah.
It was like hello, and like the way she even just kind of like it was a very defined comedic choice.
Yeah,
and it worked. I think you're right though. And All the Money in the World,
it's distracting though. No, I found it distracting.
I mean, like the film itself was kind of like it was like, you know. The film was light enough that making that kind of choice didn't disrupt it for me. And in All the Money in the World, the whole film is really histrionic. So her playing it like a soap actress didn't necessarily disrupt it in any kind of way.
It's kind of her playing it like a soap actress and Mark Wahlberg doing his smell the fart acting.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, that's totally
Mark Wahlberg can be great. That.
But in that film, he was completely smell the fart acting. Yeah, absolutely.
It's fine. You thought it was fine. I liked this. You
I really liked it.
Yeah. And I mean, I hope this one finds an audience because
I hope so too,
I think you're right about the female comedy thing. There was a moment in this as well where there's like a male model type in it. You know, just generic male model.
He was in Game of Thrones.
Was he in Game of Thrones? Is he a male model?
I don't know if he's a male model or not.
He looked like a male model.
He does, in fairness, yeah.
But there's obvious romantic kind of whatever there. She kind of fancies him or whatever. And I was kind of like, is that kind of realistic? Like, he looks like a supermodel or whatever. And Joe was like, yeah, that's pretty much every comedy with an actor. And like, the female lead who's obviously way too attractive for him. I was like, it's a fair point.
Yeah, it's
just get back in my box. Just get back in my box now.
All right. Major point.
Okay, we'll move on. I was really looking forward to seeing this one because we went and looked for another screening of it. We were hoping it was an even screening. It wasn't, but I managed to get along this morning. Brian wasn't allowed.
I wasn't allowed to go. Yeah, Dave was shocked to see the new senior editor who's replaced Mike. I went and was like, look, listen, there's a screening on today at 11 o'clock. Can I go? And he was like, well, hang on. Has D seen it? I was like, yeah. And the review's been written? Yeah. And D gave it 5 stars? Yeah. And Mike is going to see it? Yeah. Well, then why do you need to go see it? I was like, oh, God, yeah.
In fairness, he has a point.
I know he has a point. I'm just saying I would have... Anyways.
It might be nice if you could keep quiet for a while, Brian.
I love that it's not my problem anymore.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
you're loving this, aren't you?
It's amazing. Like, although when you try and schedule around production stuff, because that's what I do now, that can be more of a headache as well. But this is Tully. This is Jason Reitman and Diablo Cody. Did Juno together, did Young Adult together.
Yep.
She won an Oscar for writing the screenplay for Juno. I kind of, this one's been so subtle in its release.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's a, kind of a purposeful, like kind of they call it platform release, where they help it builds word of mouth, and that it's kind of come out of nowhere to open this Friday. I was blown away by it. I absolutely loved that, and I know you did too.
I'm so glad because I kind of was feeling the pressure because I did give it 5 stars because for me it was it reminded me a little of Lady Bird, and I mentioned this in my review, which you can read in full on site. It was kind of like it reminded me of Lady Bird in that in its kind of smallness, it was kind of a perfectly round film in like what it was trying to accomplish and everything, and in terms of just its emotional wholeness and like that ending, and not to give anything away, but it's like heartbreaking, you know. And another point I brought up was just I've never seen a movie like this that just so unblinkingly portrays the hardship of motherhood ever,
like really.
Like
this film is almost a contraceptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's like
there's a tagline right there. This film is a contraceptive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fantastic. Charlize Theron is
amazing.
Like, because we've kind of waxed.
There's been a lot of early Oscar buzz around this performance, and I'm not surprised at all.
She deserves it so much when you kind of consider where our last big film was. which was obviously like an action film.
Atomic Blonde,
Atomic Blonde, and she's incredible in that.
Yes.
And then she goes and, you know, she's put on a lot of weight. She's, I know she did that for Monster as well. She likes to do that, likes to embrace
She
the
did
role.
have Gringo in between, but we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
That was a favourite for Joel Edgerton, wasn't it? It was because his brother directed that. That's
right, yeah.
That's what that one kind of stunk like. We got Ron Livingston as well, who's not in enough films. Ron Livingston is great, plays her husband.
Yeah, he's great.
I love Ron Livingston.
He's such a good actor.
He's such a good actor. I'm glad he's in this. I didn't know he was in this. That's brilliant.
He plays her husband.
Yeah.
And it's a very simple story about a woman kind of dealing with, she's pregnant. She's when we first meet her, she's about to give birth to her third child, and she's got two other kids, and one of them's kind of a problem child. Is kind of quite difficult, and she's finding the whole thing just stressful. And a kind of Reitman and Cody kind of like delve, but everything kind of goes like from her point of view.
Yeah.
You're constantly with her the whole time, and it's stressful just to even watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because even because I described the story just like that to other people, and they were kind of like, oh, she's a single mom. And I'm like, no, she has a husband. He's just not very helpful. And it's so funny because like you think like, you know, all husbands are so like great and everything these days, but I do think it's just kind of like a habit that is still very kind of contemporary and happens a lot, in that the mum kind of just starts to take charge of everything, and all of a sudden she is in charge of everything, and she kind of almost doesn't need or doesn't want the husband to kind of help, because the blame is never there's no like kind of blame in it or anything, which I thought was really kind of nice as well. But I thought Mackenzie Davis in it is great. So storyline wise, what happens is they hire a night nanny who is played by Mackenzie Davis, who is on the up and up, and she's brilliant in this as Tully. She was in Blade Runner 2049, and she's going to be in the Terminator reboot, which I think she'll be really great in, because she's having seen her in a few things. Yeah, I think she really is. But every time her and Charlize Theron are on the screen together, like there's just something kind of magic happening, you know, and it's amazing to watch.
And I think we like Cody and Jason Reitman, Diablo Cody and Jason Reitman, there's an incredibly underrated filmmaking team.
Yeah, I think that Young Adult especially just kind of went under the radar, even though it was brilliant.
Young Adult's one of those that gets better when you go back and watch it as well. Yeah. Which obviously starred Charlize Theron too, and that one went way under the radar. That should have been, I think, better received.
And had Patrick Wilson in it.
There we go. Patrick Wilson. Podcast's favourite Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
There was a moment in this where, because you're kind of talking about that dynamic with the husband and the man kind of taking over, and then it's kind of expected of her, where Ron Livingston's character plays a husband, like tries, you can see him kind of trying, but he kind of feels insecure about trying. They're just in bed one night and he kind of says something, and it's such a beautifully subtle moment, and it's a great performance from both of them.
It really is. It's so beautifully written and directed, because it's so like real and immediately relatable and immediately understandable how like people just get into these kind of, like they almost kind of make holes for themselves. They're just kind of stuck in and find it really hard to kind of get out of these like rhythm and routine. So I just thought it was a brilliant kind of slice of life movie, and I thought it was really interesting with regards to like, you know, in comparison to like Juno and Young Adult, which both kind of look at like, you know, well, Juno in the film is pregnant, and in Young Adult they kind of go into a pregnancy that Charlize Theron, who is in that film as well, her character did have. So I thought it was kind of interesting that this one kind of almost brings those like full circle in the themes that it's exploring.
Do you think that was a conscious decision?
It might be, because, well, I mean,
if they made the trilogy,
exactly. And the fact that this is them kind of coming back a few years on from Young Adult, because I think Young Adult and Juno were fairly close together, but then there was kind of like a bit of space in between Young Adult and
Up in the Air then,
did Up in the Air, and did Men, Women and Children as well.
Yeah, exactly. So Jason Reitman had a few kind of projects in between.
Well, Up in the Air is incredible, Brian. That's a really, you were saying that messed you up.
No, I mean, like, I know I talked to Anya about this. Anya, who's the chief content officer, like before I did this job, I worked as a mechanical engineer, and I had to travel a lot for my job. Like
fly a lot.
Yeah, I had to travel overseas quite a bit, and I had to just travel around Ireland a lot. Like. And it's the kind of thing that, like, if you're living out of your suitcase for your job, it's the kind of thing that, like, you really kind of start to kind of become detached from every kind of social aspect of your life. And Anya was saying the same as well. She was like, yeah, it's like, it's Up in the Air really kind of got that whole kind of like sense of like otherness you kind of get from like moving a lot around for your job. The fact that like
you can never feel fully connected to one place.
Exactly. And you don't even feel connected to people, you know, that kind of way. And that how it becomes so kind of easy until the point where it becomes you're just sort of used to it, and you're just like, yeah, well, I don't really need people in my life. I can continue on as that, being myself, just moving around.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, you find that it becomes a really hollow pursuit. And again, like, I bet you anyone who's watched Up in the Air, who travels a lot for work, will relate to it, because I certainly related to it, and Anya said the same as well. And I'm sure
your brain is just kind of frazzled a little bit. And I haven't done, not to the extent that yourself or Anya or a lot of people who travel for a living would do, but when I was deep in the junkets and it was just me, before you guys came along doing the junkets years ago for entertainment.ie, you're in the airport twice a week sometimes, and it's exhausting too.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen Up in the Air, so we might have to do that as a revisit.
Yeah. Maybe that could be a good one, because we could start to look at like more recent ones, like ones from the noughties and stuff. It'd be worth it. Yeah.
Did you guarantee in your mailbag this week, Brian?
I did actually. Yes, we did. I have the letter. Letters, we get letters, we get sense. Thank you. Cheers. So this comes in from Hugh Fitzpatrick, and this is addressed to you, Mike.
Oh, lovely.
Dear Film Podcast, I hope to hear from the wannabe bodybuilder Mike this week.
The wannabe bodybuilder?
I never said bodybuilder. I never said wannabe bodybuilder.
What am I a wannabe bodybuilder?
Well, like, in fairness, you wear t-shirts that are like two sizes too small for you.
Don't
That cut off the circulation in the air.
This isn't.
Yeah, but you normally do. This is different. You
I
normally
put on
do
like 5 kilos of I've put on weight, Brian, but thanks for pointing it out.
Brian, you were really kind of borderline obsessive with my.
I don't know why. I don't know why I keep doing this.
Why is Brian fat shaming me?
I don't know
why is Brian fat shaming me? Because I can't afford large tops, and it was a medium, and now I'm a large. Brian.
Yeah, right, whatever.
Feelings.
What do you call it? Well, look, you bully me all the time. Like,
let's finish the letter.
Finish the letter. He says,
I love it. He's like your carer now. It's fantastic.
Carer.
He's like, yeah, okay, you're all right. It's fine. Here's your things. No, you need to do this now. Okay, right. Do that now. He also suggested American History X suggestion for the revisit.
Great suggestion.
Yeah, we'll do that next week. We'll do American History X next week. But for this week on the revisit, and we'll get to that later, we're doing Moulin Rouge.
Ooh.
So yeah, thanks for that, Hugh Fitzpatrick.
Although he signed it Ryan, which is a bit confusing.
Okay, so is this a real person? Are you a real person? Which are like, maybe you just listen to that. Is he sending for somebody else's email account?
Maybe he has an alter ego, Ryan and Hugh.
Maybe he's all Fight Club. Spoiler alert.
Could be, yeah. Could be. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, thanks for sending it in. And if you want to send in something for the mailbag, it's Brian BRIAN at entertainment.ie.
Okay, and you can tweet us as well at the Filum Show. Where we do kind of get abuse from the same 2 or 3 people.
We do.
Yeah.
But
they're dedicated.
They're committed.
We appreciate it. Like, they're super committed.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, we're gonna mix things up this week.
Yes.
In a bold move.
Bold move.
It was a bold move, Cotton. You're going to take up movie news because Dee's going to tackle the revisit afterwards.
We're mixing it up.
Okay, so the first bit of news I have is another podcast favourite. Jake Gyllenhaal is going to star as music legend Leonard Bernstein in a new biopic that's going to be directed by Cary Fukunaga. Now, people would know Cary Fukunaga from the first season of True Detective. The film is expected to begin production in the coming months, probably in the autumn. So that means that they'll miss out on this Oscar season.
So it'll be probably a year. They have to do the festivals next summer or Telluride next year.
Yeah, definitely. But like, I mean, it's definitely got Oscar bait written all over it, I think.
Yeah. Gyllenhaal deserves it at this stage.
Oh, he does, completely.
He should have been nominated for Stronger.
Yeah.
Which was really underrated. I really like Stronger. And he's great, and he's just he should have been nominated for Nightcrawler as well.
Yeah.
He should have won for Nightcrawler, really.
Nightcrawler, though, was too weird for the Academy. Like, it was the same with Drive. Like, I mean...
Hang on. The best picture winner this year was a woman having sex with a fish. Again.
Yeah, but it was romantic and light.
Yeah, it was romantic.
In its weird little way.
It was a romantic relationship. Sorry. It
was romantic and fantasy, you know what I mean? Like I was reading this article about talking about the Florida Project and how it's an amazing film that kind of looks at this like side of, you know, America that you don't normally see, you know, which is people were kind of living in motels and stuff. And the point that the article was essentially making is that the Oscars always avoids these kind of heavy going topics, which I thought was kind of a really valid point, you know?
Yeah. But I just think, you know, you were kind of alluding to the fact that it was, you know, it's about a woman and a fish and lust. It's not, they're in love. It's a relationship.
No, they're
it's
in
romantic.
Love.
I know, it wasn't a lustful thing, so that makes it not bestiality then.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's kind of a thing about, like, well, it wasn't bestiality in as such. Like, bestiality suggests that there was no sentience. You know, that sort of way. Jesus, why are we still talking about The Shape of Water? Anyways, next bit of news.
That was my trigger.
Mel Gibson, his next directorial effort will be a World War II thriller about kamikaze attacks.
Nice and light, Mel.
Totally light, but like, I mean,
he loves his war stuff.
He does, yeah. Like Hacksaw Ridge did really well for him. Like that really
Apocalypto's kind of a war movie. It was more of a chase movie, but there's
elements of it. Like so yeah, he apparently will be directing this. It's based on a non-fiction book called Hell from the Heavens, which detailed the brutal kamikaze attack on the USS Lafay during World War II. Now apparently he is being courted for the reboot of $6 Million Man with Mark Wahlberg. That will be directed by Peter Berg. They want him to star.
I really like Peter Berg.
I do too. Yeah, they want Mel Gibson to star in that reboot. So if he doesn't do this, if he doesn't do the $6 Million reboot, he's going to start this in like autumn. I think
start the pre-production for this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of whether or not he does the deal to do the $6 Million Man reboot or not.
Hollywood's kind of forgiven Mel Gibson now, haven't they?
Kind of, yeah.
Because all the stuff that's gone on.
Well,
since Mel Gibson is...
Yeah. Things in perspective.
Mel Gibson, he was despicable, but really was a criminal.
Like, I mean, was he going on for 30 years, like, abusing women? Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think with, I think the fact that Daddy's Home 2 did really well for him.
Yeah.
I think that kind of helped to rehabilitate his image, and also as well, as you said, like, I mean, the fact that like Harvey Weinstein, all that stuff is going on.
It's not just Harvey Weinstein either. There's a lot
not even him, like like James Toback and all that stuff. I think this is kind of, I don't want to say lent perspective, but like it definitely has kind of made people think.
Yeah, well, I suppose if there's been a long period of time between whenever the incident, I suppose it was another incident when he was on the phone, he was for conversation with tapes. Does it at a certain like it's like where does the punishment end for something like that? And I know Robert Downey Jr. came out and kind of pleaded for forgiveness for him as well.
Yeah.
Because by all accounts, when Hacksaw Ridge and Andrew Garfield and Vince Vaughn talking about working with Gibson, they loved working with him. I interviewed him for Daddy's Home too, and he's wired like. He's totally wired. He's just like he's rubbing his beard and he's like... But it's amazing sitting across from somebody like Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Because it's Martin Riggs, Mad Max... it's
Braveheart,
he looks like a movie, like he's got a big grey beard now, but he still looks like a movie star. He's huge and he's just some people just have that presence, and Mel Gibson like still has that. You can see why he's such a big star for some.
Totally, yeah. Like Jesus, like I mean, you look back at like Braveheart, like I mean, just the concept of it, like and tidbit. I at home I have a shield that was stolen from the set of Braveheart. Yeah, because it was filmed. The Battle of Stirling was filmed in the Cork camp.
Yeah,
where I used to live, and I actually held up production of Braveheart for one day.
What? How much did that cost?
That probably cost them about 10 grand, I'd say. Because what happened was, right, the charge. No, this is a true story. This is honest to God, this is a true story.
Should you be admitting this?
No, I can admit it now, and I've always wanted to interview Mel Gibson.
You should have stopped him, D, because you're his carer. You're supposed to stop him when he
goes
off the rails like an old man.
He's so excited.
I know. Genuinely. I've always wanted to interview Mel Gibson just so I could tell him this story that I held up production of Braveheart.
What if he got really annoyed at you?
I don't. Well, like there you go. We got
Mel
viral.
Gibson annoyed.
It could happen, but I'll tell the story anyway. So. The Battle of Stirling, right, was filmed in Brownstown, where I used to live, in the Cork camp, right? And you know the bit where like they're charging down and then they turn around and bare their arses?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's basically filmed on the crest of a hill near an army camp, which was where we used to live. And when they were doing the horse charge coming down, right, because they had to line up all the horses to get them to run directly straight. Myself, my dad, and my brother were kind of creeping out onto the plains where it was happening. And my dad was like, look, I can see them like lining up all the horses. And I stood right up and like was like, oh my God, I can see it. And next minute, the horses all stopped. They all came to all reined up.
Probably because you're a horse whisperer.
Well, no, but like they all reined up in a complete line.
There he is.
And next minute, next minute, this guy came belting towards me on the back of a horse with a stick, running right at me. And like reined up and like swung it over my head to get me to sit down. And then the guy was like, you can't be here. You gotta get out. You gotta get out. You're after holding up the entire day. And they couldn't film it for the rest of the day then. and because apparently it took that long. There was a rule with horses that they were only allowed to have them on set for. It's kind of like children, like they're only allowed to have them on set for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And they had spent that long. Because they put a call out across all Kildare to get the horses up, and they only arrived late apparently. And when they finally got them lined up for the shot, they only had one chance to do it that day, and I messed it up.
I think that cost would have cost more than 10 grand.
Probably.
I'd say that was what, an $80 million film, and you only got a Matt State.
Yeah.
Okay, so say it's let's just.
Oh, don't give me mental.
It's a big sequence in the film, right?
Yeah.
It's an $80 million film. It was the mid 90s, like 94, 95.
Well, they filmed it in 93.
93.
Yeah.
90, no, sorry, no. 92.
So allowing for inflation and stuff like that. So probably $150 million movie nowadays.
Yeah.
It was a big action sequence in the movie, so an expensive sequence in the movie.
Sure.
They normally spend probably like 2 weeks maybe to film, week and a half.
No, they would have had for Braveheart.
Yeah.
They would have had like months.
Okay, yeah, but for one sequence or whatever. So let's say the rental of the horses, the rental of all the extras. The camera equipment was shot on film, obviously.
Yeah, and they had the FCA as well.
They had the FCA, so they pay all of them.
Yeah.
They had to pay for the film and the can that they lost. It was a big, panoramic.
Oh yeah, they probably lost the reel. Yeah,
I'd say you cost Mel Gibson and that studio probably I'd say about 150 grand.
I would say that's the estimate I put was at about like anywhere between would have been 10 grand then. So like just that for inflation, you're probably talking 70, 80 grand.
I love that you want to meet Mel Gibson and tell him that.
I want to tell him that story.
I think he's going to be like, oh no way, that's gas.
I know, but
have you heard Mel Gibson on the phone?
No, I haven't. I just want to see. I want to get that, like, I want him to lose his mind in front of me. I'm like, oh my god, look, it's Mel Gibson losing his mind. You'd be
like, look, Mel, all worked out all right in the end, didn't it?
This is it. This is it. And I would like to think as well, he possibly had a day to think about that shot. That kind of way. I like to think that I gave him the presence of mind. That he was like, he went back to his hotel and he was like, no, we've got to completely revamp the shot. I'm really grateful to that little kid giving me the day to think about that shot.
Or he just belittled 4 assistant trainee directors and was like, why did you let him? But you can't let people.
Possibly, I don't know. Well, whatever. But it's a formative moment.
I've done it. So have you ever been on a film set? Have you ever worked on a film set?
I was an extra on the clinic. Does that count?
Well, I mean, kind of, right? Okay. But I was Sam Keeley, we had actually in. He was in the clinic.
Yeah, he was in the clinic as well.
We had super nice guy. If you've ever been on a film set, ever worked on a film set as a trainee AD, right? Because I used to want to be a cinematographer. And I realised how hard it went to film school and all that. Didn't get a master's like Deirdre, but I tried.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I did try, kind of, sort of. But then I realised, it's an extremely difficult thing to get into. Anyway, I ended up working on a TV set. Remember Murphy's Law?
Oh, that
with James Nesbitt.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It was like a really crap version of Luther, and it was set in Leicester, but they shot it in Fatima Mansions, right? And so I was a trainee assistant director on that for they were 14-hour days.
Yeah.
And they were shooting up one of the flats, set in Leicester. And they told me they were I was 50 yards up. Don't let anybody go past here. You cannot let anybody go past here. They're going to ruin the shot. Some girl, I'd say she was about 4 or 5, came running up and she was like, Mister, I have to go to my toilet. And I was like, yeah. And before I knew it, she was just at the sprinting down to the shot, and just had to ruin the shot. And I was like, what are you supposed to do in a situation like that?
It's a 4-year-old girl who needs to pee.
I was on her own as well, But so that's my production tip. And it didn't cost him 120 grand anyway.
No, in fairness, it didn't shut down you didn't shut down a major Hollywood production. Deirdre, any anecdotes from you shutting down major?
No, but I did have a bit. I did work as a trainee AD on one film. I won't name it, but it was.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was a Danish-Irish co-production that probably no one's ever heard. I don't know if it even got a release.
Was there any pole vaulters in it?
What?
Was there any Danish pole vaulters in it?
Wait, what?
Yeah, the pole vaulter.
Oh, right.
I wasn't listening to my
No, hang on.
I was. I just.
What was the name of the film?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, can we talk about this off air? Yeah, okay.
Was it an enjoyable experience?
No.
Oh, that's why you don't want to talk about it off air.
I remember it was actually when I wouldn't say it was when they started filming on digital film, but this particular movie was shot on digital film, and it was one of those art house movie directors, and basically you'd get shots that were probably a minimum of about 15 minutes long, and they could go as long as 30 minutes, and I'd be trying to keep everyone quiet for that length of time as a trainee AD is like freaking impossible.
Yeah.
So, and I had jobs like yours, which was like keeping people away on set and making lots of coffee, but I don't drink coffee, so they were bad cups of coffee. But people just had to kind of deal. So, yeah, it wasn't a great experience, and there was a bit of like, I won't say conflict, but there was tension between the Danish crew and the Irish crew.
Okay, that cultural divide, like.
Yeah, a bit, and but you know what it taught me? That I don't want to work on films, and here I am.
I love to put me and D. We're trainee ADs and stuff, and now we're here. We're like,
fairness.
Not doing that again. Not doing that anymore.
They're actually really boring film sets. People underestimate how boring they are.
Yeah, like you listen to like Mark Maron talk to actors about being on sets and stuff like this, and it just sounds awful. Like,
it's real first, when honest. Have you heard actually? If you listen to when Mark Maron, you went to see him in Vicar Street. We'll move on to the revisit now. But he's still in Ireland. He was in Ireland for like a week.
Yeah, he was.
He's been very complimentary about our shores. He has.
Yeah, he was.
I think it's because he's so miserable.
Well, no, he said it before, like he was talking about how like when he lived in Boston, like they kind of had like a very much cultural affinity to Ireland.
That's
like,
mad.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like
you're like a young Mark Maron.
Like,
you have gotten that before.
People have said that before, and I don't know if
I really want to see some of Mark Maron stuff so I can like
make the
I don't necessarily take it as a compliment. Like people like intend it as a compliment. I don't think it is intended.
Well, he's like a really successful podcaster and comedian. You're on a podcast.
Yeah,
you're funny to laugh at.
All right, let's do the revisit then. Jesus.
Revisit music.
Christ.
Hey, I could have been a lot worse. I could have been a lot worse after last week. Yeah. I had plans. Joe was like, what are you going to do? Like,
how are you going to get your
What are we going to do?
Actually, wait, before we get started on the revisit, Deirdre, full disclosure.
Oh, God.
I was meant to watch Moulin Rouge last night.
I knew you wouldn't get round to it, Brian. I knew you wouldn't get round to it.
I fell asleep.
It's fine, Brian. It's fine. Have you seen it, Mike?
I have seen Moulin Rouge. Yes. Have you not seen it, Brian? No.
No, I've never watched it from start to finish. Anytime it's like one of those films. I'll start watching it and then I'll just conk out with sleep. And I don't know why. Like I had every intention of watching it.
I don't know how. It's such a loud movie.
I know that's just it though.
It's so you won't go into it, but it's so Baz Luhrmann-esque.
Yeah,
everything
it really
about
is.
it.
Yeah, to the extreme. So I think that this movie is worthy of a revisit for two reasons. Because Brian always because I'm mimicking your style now and going through you know, your number one, number two, and all that.
Wait, no, hang on. Dave O'Shaughnessy suggested this. Remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot to actually highlight that. So our editor, our new editor.
Whatever, lads.
David O'Shaughnessy actually suggested Moulin Rouge, so I'd seen it and Brian hadn't, so we decided to switch up the whole movie news and revisit it now. So
I was like, I don't like change. What are you doing?
Anyway, aside from it being like a super entertaining film, it's really well sung, really well cast. It has good pacing, and it's kind of hopelessly romantic, so it appeals to, you know, the romantic.
The soundtrack was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. But the two main reasons why I think that this film deserves a lot of credit is, one, its technical achievements. Like, it looks absolutely stunning. Everything about this, the color, the costume design, the production design. It won a couple of Oscars for it, actually. I think it won for Best Art Direction, which has been renamed, I think, to Production Design now, but Best Art Direction, and it won for costume design as well, I think. And it's just like such a gorgeous film, so technically amazing as well. The editing, the sound and everything, the music just like constantly like going through it and everything is really, really gorgeous. And I think that what's so cool about its richness of color as well is that it really throws it back to, and you guys know I love my classic Hollywood, it really throws it back to like the original big musical period, which was in kind of the 1930s to 50s, which brings me to my next point, which is that the second reason why Moulin Rouge deserves loads and loads of praise is that it is the comeback of the musical. And I'm going to tell you why. It was not Mamma Mia. It certainly wasn't La La Land. It was Moulin Rouge. During the 90s, essentially the only kind of big musicals you had, I mean, you had like the odd one, like you had Evita and stuff, but most of the musical releases were Disney movies like The Lion King and stuff like that. But then when Moulin Rouge came out in 2001, I want to say, you had like a load of musicals following afterwards. You had like Chicago, Dreamgirls, Hairspray, Sweeney Todd, all of these movies that kind of were working off the back of the success of Moulin Rouge. And it was also hugely significant in bringing back specifically the jukebox jukebox musical, which is like a musical that basically consists of songs that like you've known and heard of before, and that's how Mamma Mia earned its success as well, was being a jukebox musical. So there you go, and that's why it's awesome. Oh, and also final point, you'll remember Hugh Jackman's Oscar opening in 2009, where again he was saying like the musical's back, and that was directed by Baz Luhrmann, the director of Moulin Rouge. So that's how important he is to
Baz Luhrmann is he's kind of had an eclectic career, but we always had that Baz Luhrmann palette.
You'll always know it.
You'll always know it's just they're quite extravagant and loud. And
like I remember seeing this documentary that was kind of talking about his first 3 movies as kind of his love trilogy. So you first had Strictly Ballroom or Strictly Ballroom.
Guy Pearce, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was like communication through dance, and then Moulin Rouge is communication through song, and then Romeo and Juliet, which was released in between, is kind of love communication through like poetry and iambic pentameter.
What's that?
It's the Shakespeare thing. It's like
it's a particular like rhythm of poetry, and you have a certain number of words per line.
Yeah, it's like 5. It's like 5 per word, isn't it? It's
like
5
that,
per line. It's a thing that like Shakespeare did, where he is structured every line in iambic pentameter, so that like it had to have like 5 and then 3 and then 5. I forget what it is. Yeah, something along those lines.
I've never heard of that. Maybe just somebody said it and I just ignored it because I was like, I'm not going to need to know that.
No, you wouldn't. Like, I mean, no.
Well, you won't know it.
Well, like,
you feel left out.
Well, like I did did you do honours English in the Leaving Cert?
No, I didn't.
Well, there you go.
It's an Englishy thing.
Yeah,
I got a D2 or was it D3? What's the lowest you can get without failing?
D3, yeah.
In lower level maths. So that's as stupid as you can get without failing.
No, here, listen. I got you bet. I did foundation maths.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Oh, you did foundation maths? Yeah. Okay, right, grand, yeah. Okay.
Well, I did pass maths.
Then you went on to get a master's. Huh?
There you go.
See, there you go.
Well, it wasn't maths related.
Okay, because we haven't mentioned both Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor, the stars of this day.
They're awesome. And I didn't know they could both sing. And I still think that it's one of Nicole Kidman's best roles. I think that she looks fabulous. I wish that she went back to red hair and white skin because she looks beautiful.
She's amazing in Big Little Lies. She's so good in that. But I wasn't a fan of hers until that series. I've been on.
Really? You didn't like Moulin Rouge?
I liked Moulin Rouge. I thought it was like just a fun, kind of extravagant blast of a film. I remember my girlfriend at the time was in college, was obsessed with it as well. Mm-hmm. So the soundtrack was on constantly. And, for a film that you'd be like, oh, you're going, that's not kind of my cup of tea, but you will still enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still so much there. And it was kind of a cultural phenomenon for a long time. Just her, generally speaking, I find her quite contrite in her performance. She's just, even in the hours and stuff, everything seems like she's trying very, very hard. Point being, I always know she's acting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Big Little Lies was the first time I saw, and granted I haven't seen every single piece of film that she's made, or every single film or show that she's made, but it was the first time I was like, she's incredible in this. Like, she got lost in the role. It was a really tough role as well. And I was like, all right, Nicole Kidman, I'm back on board. Don't lose me.
Fair, like, what I would say about Nicole Kidman is that, like, she does do, like, she is willing to take chances. That kind of way. Like, she was doing one of Lars von Trier's films, like one of those documentaries.
That's very true. Films. That's a fair point.
Like, I'll give her credit.
That's a chance, all right.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, genuinely. Like, and even
those films are batshit crazy.
Oh, they're nuts. They're nuts. And even like Batman Forever, like when she was in that, like she was incredible in that. I thought.
All right.
Formative.
Thirsty Brian.
It was formative.
Get Brian a drink of water.
But yeah, no, I think she like is one of those actors. I think that like tries to reinvent herself in every role. And like, it doesn't surprise me that like it's Big Little Lies is the one that got you. Like for you, it was Moulin Rouge. I think of Eyes Wide Shut. I thought she was brilliant in Eyes Wide Shut.
That says a lot, to be fair. Yeah. You know, like that it's kind of 3 separate films where you're like, I think this is her best work, or 3 separate pieces of work. I think this is her best work, and you're like, and you said a film that she's naked in because you're a creep.
No, I think in Eyes Wide Shut. No, and I like
the film with the orgy. You picked the film with the orgy,
but she's not in it. Like, no, I think why I like about
I looked in that orgy. How do you know they're all wearing masks?
Well, that's the ambiguity of it. Like, is she at the orgy or not? Like, leaving aside the nudity in Eyes Wide Shut, I think her performance in it was really kind of authentic. Like, and you could see that you totally believed the dynamics you have with Tom Cruise in it.
I also think that Jim Broadbent in Moulin Rouge is fantastic as Harold Zidler. Like, I've never seen him he ever since then, he goes for such like subtle performances. And I love actually when he does kind of the kind of kooky mad
song and dance numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was great in that. And John Leguizamo had a supporting role as well that he was great in.
He's kind of like too. He's like a Lucky Charm, isn't he, John Leguizamo? Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've read his book.
Also in John Wick.
John. That's what I mean.
He's in John Wick.
He's just with a pencil.
Play it.
So it's going to be funny now because we're going to put this one out hopefully as a video as well.
Oh crap! I didn't know that.
So,
by the way, can we just say compliments to me because I worked in John Wick Mansion, guys.
Yeah,
you did work in a John Wick Mansion.
In fairness,
usually one of you
thought we were going to have to wait for Deadpool 2, where the whole thing would just then become about the John Wick series.
Completely.
And there was John Wick news, and you didn't cover it in movie news.
Oh yeah, what, the official synopsis? That was last week.
Well, look, we still could have brought it
last week.
Still could have
It was
brought it
also
last
first look at whatchamacallum, what's his name, Bill Skarsgård's character
in Deadpool 2. Yeah,
but then again, you can't really talk about a first look in a non-visual.
That's what I'm saying. And these and the news pieces.
Visual now.
I know, yeah, but like the news pieces that I got, this is fresh. This is hot off the press. Like,
what if people are like going back and listening?
Well,
to
I
this?
can't help them. Okay, I can only give you fresh, hot news, which is what this is.
I like these news better. Anyway. Okay, there's not a huge amount out next week, Deirdre. So we're gonna have to crack next week and figure something out. There's not a huge amount out.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Well, I know because look, I mean, there's embargoes and stuff in place as well.
Yeah,
like there's only
exactly.
There's only
so
there's only so much you can talk. Does Netflix have anything? Is Netflix bringing anything?
I mean, unless we released a little later in the week, but we'll play it by ear. Sure.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear.
Flag it and
so
everything.
we might be next Thursday, but. Deirdre's got a bonus pod that's probably going to be a Friday, we'd say.
Yeah, should
we got it out Friday. Brian's got On the Line, Clive Owen, check that one out.
Yep.
Search everywhere you get your podcasts. And we should have a very famous male comedian. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. For On the Line as well the following week. So please do like and subscribe to the Filum Show. Follow us on Twitter. Send Brian a mail to a sack.
Yep.
Brian at entertainment.ie.
Mails are stored in the sack.
Packed to the brim. Talk to you next week.